We are rolling here at UCLA in Los Angeles, California on July 6th, where it's a beautiful day. The sunshine is shining, yes it is. And we're about to hear from Brandon, who's going to share with us what happened when he tried to communicate nonverbal respect to everyone he met for about a week or longer.
Yes.
Yeah. Brandon stands before you, and the first thing he does is he stands in the center of the room, and you're about in the center. That's good. You don't want to be too far to the left or the right. You never use a podium. You never put a barrier between you and your audience. So I'm a non-podium professor, okay? So now you're in the power center of the room. Now you go into the power stance, with your feet should be a little wider than your shoulders, so you're like a tripod. And that keeps you from swaying, see? Like tripod, yeah, like this tripod there, see? It's very stable. And then he's looking around the room, managing attention to make sure everyone is not texting or having their computer open or talking. And if you do find someone talking or chatting or reading, you can just go, you don't want to, like that, point to her, that's rude. You would just go to let her know that you're about to stop. Okay. And then you find friendly eyes near the front and the center to connect with somebody. Say your name, feel the love, and we will, like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, say hello back to you and start your speech. So,
question. Typically, when the speech, do you stay in one stance, or do you like when people
No, I like you to move 3 times. So the good, the bad to the left, and ugly back to center.
Okay. Absolutely.
And if you want to move 1 step over to the left, to start, that would be even better. Okay. And we're rolling.
Hi, my name is Brandon Green.
Hi, Brandon.
This past week, I had the experience of showing respect non-verbally. And usually I was just telling it to myself, I'm going to show, I know the experiences are going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I just want to just give the best experience possible and try to give my best effort. So typically during a week, I start off with going to Ralph's to get groceries on Sunday. So I saw an elderly lady far away from me, and I was like, well, this time to put it to work. How can I possibly show respect to this person without telling them I respect you in an awkward way? So whenever I'm getting my cart, I'm going to go inside the store. So I decided, well, she's really far away. Why don't I just give her my cart? And I was like, okay. I gave it to her. She said, thank you. And I was like, this is possibly what's just going to be the extent. Like, she's probably just going to say, thank you. I did my job. That's it. Well, I showed that showing respect sometimes has a ripple effect. That, the fact that I showed her respect in the store, when I went inside, we ended up finishing at the same time with our groceries, and she saw me. She says, you know what? You could go in front of me. And that just showed to me basically that this has the ripple effect had that since I showed her respect, she showed it back to me also. And it wasn't just that, and possibly that I thought to myself was, since she did that to me, she's willing to possibly do that to someone else and show respect. It just has this positive effect that keeps on going on and on, hopefully. Another thing that happened when the good part of showing respect non-verbally was when I held the door open for another elderly lady at the gas station. And she just says, you don't see kids do this that much anymore, and looked at me. She says, thank you. And afterwards, I was walking out back to my car. She told her husband that he's a respectful child. I was like, thank you. And I was like, I appreciate it. And then she just laughed and went on her way. And I thought that was nice. It made me feel better, and hopefully I made her feel better. And then let's go to the bad now. So I'm going to work my way over here. Okay. So now with the bad. It wasn't like I had an experience. I had about 2 bad experiences, I would say. One, I decided again to hold the door open for another kind lady. I have no problem. I held the door open, and 2 seconds go by. I'm like, okay, she's taking her time. I'm like, okay, we're moving kind of slow today. And nope, and she just stood there. And then I was like, oh, you want to come? And she's like, I can hold the door open for myself and walk. And I was like, okay, at least I tried. Nothing I could do about that. But the thing about that is I learned there's no universal way of showing respect to someone. There's no universal way. Everyone has a different approach to showing respect to whatever individual. The simple fact that I held the door open for one woman or even male doesn't mean that this goes universally that they're all going to see as respect. So that's what it showed me. Another bad experience is, in my culture, if I see someone, another male, I may just give him a head nod, like, what's up, do that. And you know, that shows I see you, I respect you. But that can also show as male dominance. That, you know, you're trying to intimidate someone like, oh, you did this to me, what does that mean? And so I kind of got like a weird look from him. It was kind of like, okay. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to look the other way. Let's go. I was like, fine. So now I'm going over to the ugly. Let's go to the ugly really quick. So now with the ugly, there's only one really ugly experience. I'm going to be honest, showing respect for the most part, non-verbally, it was a terrific experience, or I just didn't say anything. But this ugly part was, there was a car, and I'm walking into Target, and you know, I'm trying to think if I could walk, I could possibly just stop quicker and easier than a car moving. So you know, I was like, how about you just go? And we just stood there, and he was like, you go. And I'm like, no, you go. And it's silent. And then he rolled down the window. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. So he looked at me, he was like, you have the right of way. I'm like, oh, we followed that rule. I was like, okay, and just walked through. So that was my experience of having the good, bad, and the ugly. And really what I learned from that was, one, show respect. At the end of the day, it can't hurt you just to show respect to every individual you see, non-verbally, obviously. The bad, the good outweighs the bad. And then the ugly doesn't really matter. It may come rare, or if it does, you know, you learn from the experience. And like I said before, you learn that there's no universal sign of respect. And that is my presentation on the good, bad, and ugly of showing nonverbal respect.
Thank you. You're up there for your feedback. Time? 4:36. 4:36. Okay, now what we do in class is we have one person stand up and say their name and what they like, and then another person stand up and say how they could improve. So we'll start in the rear here. Yeah. Name and what did you like about Brandon's?
Hi, my name is Rashma, and
Hi, Rashma.
I really liked how your speech was really captivating. It was like you were telling the story. It wasn't like you were just standing there monotonely just talking about everything. And I just thought it was really entertaining.
Thank you.
Good, thank you, Rashma. Improve.
Hi, my name is Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
I really liked your speech. Honestly, I don't know how you can, perhaps like while you're moving, make it a little more stable.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Brandon, you want to walk and talk at the same time. You don't want to say, I'm moving. You know, just say, you know, and make it so we don't even notice you're walking. So you want to just say, so that was my first experience with the good. But besides the good, there were some negative things that happened. Plant yourself there. Then back to center, see? Oh yeah, let's all remember to turn our telephonies off. Yes, thank you. Mine is on. Let me give you some feedback to help you improve, Brandon. First off, eye contact. The rule is we want to make 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact with everybody in the room. And I noticed you were looking at me more than you were looking at most of the class. Now I understand that. I'm the king. I'm the professor. I'm the you know, the person you want to sort of judge the reaction to. But it's good to look around to everybody and to give everybody that 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact. That's pretty long. You want to go longer because it'll seem like you're stalking them, and you don't want to go shorter because you won't be making a connection. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I want you to all notice you want to have the narrative come out in these things. What do I mean by the narrative? Do you all know what I mean by the narrative? The story. So you want, with your voice, you want to say, so I had this great experience of trying to be respectful, and today I want to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the good, see? And so you really emphasize where you are in the narrative with your voice, and then you tell us those 2 or 3 good things that happened. And then you say, but besides the good, it wasn't all good. There was some, not so good. There was some bad. And you walk and talk and do that. And you do that with your voice, and then say, besides the good and the bad, we tell you about the ugly, and back to center, see? And then, besides good, bad, ugly, now I want to share with you what I learned. And you have those all in there. Don't get me wrong. So when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you will see that you did have all those elements in there, but you didn't you didn't have the emphasis of it. Yeah. So I liked your story. They were good. They showed that you were thinking about, you were emanating respect. And when you think about being respectful, these kinds of gestures of opening doors, of being kind, and sharing shopping carts and that sort of thing, just naturally happen, right? And so that was good. I have had similar experiences with where certain individuals feel that you think I'm incapable of opening a door? Haven't you heard of feminism? Yeah, but I wish I hadn't. And a simple act of kindness turns into a political something or another.
Yeah, and I heard that, and it was interesting because it was just the fact that, but right then and there, instead of like getting mad at my first reaction, if I wasn't really good spirit, I'm like, well, I'll probably say something back, like, I was just trying to show you this, that, and my respect. Instead of saying that to her, I just, you know what, I learned from a second, in my head, I was just thinking, like I told you, there's no universal sign, and I'm not going to stop opening doors for people, because a lot of people still view that as respect, but I can understand why someone would not, and that's their opinion, I know that.
Right. One thing you didn't mention, but maybe some of the other people have had this experience, you'll open a door for somebody and 10 people will come in and not one person will say thank you.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
And that's pretty amazing too. I told you to learn to walk and talk, practicing walking and talking when you speak. And finally, I like your closing of what you learned, and I thought you incorporated the spirit of the assignment beautifully, and it was a good first person to show how to do the respect assignment, and it was what I was expecting you to do and the results that I expected you to have. So thank you very much. Okay, do we have another volunteer? Yeah, come on down. Oh, you're the timer. Okay, you can turn it over to this fellow. The Apple, we only use Apple products. Manu sock. You must go by something. What do you go by? Manu. Manu. That's better. That's a long name otherwise, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you're at different heights. Okay, there you go. Manu stands before you managing attention. Okay, she's reading. Communicating respect. You're shaking a little bit. Undo your hands. Let them be by your side. Okay. You're in the power stance. That's good. Your feet are wider than your shoulder. You're communicating respect non-verbally. You're looking around the room saying to yourself, I respect my audience. And you really mean it. Finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Manusha.
Hi, Manu.
Hi. And today I'm going to do a speech on respect. To begin, for starters, if you ask anyone on the street what they think respect means, chances are all their answers are going to differ. So even before I began the experiment, I asked myself what it meant to be respectful. And I came up with the answer of as it being an honor and deserved attention that you give to someone. And moving forward with that definition, the real challenge was communicating that non-verbally. And as we saw in class, it's so easy just to say I respect you. But once you have to convey that through your body language, it becomes a whole nother story. As anyone would, I looked up on the wonderful internet techniques I could use, and I came up with 3 ways I could convey that respect. And the first one was lowering myself to the level of those I spoke with. Granted, they were shorter than me. Mirroring their behavior, and of course, smiling and making eye contact. As anticipated, most of the results were positive, as in I had positive experiences, because who doesn't like to be respected? But there were some that did not turn out as well, and I'll go through it in a second. But for starters, there was one positive experience that stood out to me, and it involved my little cousin who just turned 8. Although we started first verbally communicating, and it consisted of me telling him to read a book instead of play video games. And of course he resisted by saying that there's no such thing during the summer. And it was quite difficult trying to get him to listen to what I was saying. And then I realized that I could use the experiment on him, and actually got down to his level and made direct eye contact and asked him one more time if he could switch to reading a book instead of playing a video game. And astonishingly, it worked. I think because I had established that respect with him, he was more inclined to do what I asked of him. So that was my good experience, but my bad, honestly, I didn't really have that many bad experiences, because I think with strangers, it was more that I was smiling and making eye contact, and it was either ignored or just not returned. You know, there's nothing malicious. So that's really the bad experience, but there was one experience that stood out that scared me a little, to be quite frank. It was recent too. It was a few days ago. I was walking home from class, and I saw a homeless man on the street, and I thought, why not? Let me smile and, make eye contact. And it did not go as planned. He did get angry at me and use profane words. And I was shocked at first, but again, as Brandon said, I realized that although I may feel like I'm conveying a message of respect, he could be perceiving it differently. So those are my 3 stories. Despite the little hiccups, I think it was a really interesting experiment, and I learned a lot, and I hope to keep up that habit of being respectful to everyone I meet. Thank you.
Thank you. For your feedback. Thank you. Okay, we're in the rear area. So.
I really enjoyed how
Name?
you had... my name's Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
I really enjoyed how you had an introduction when you started, and you sort of tied it into your speech, and you found your own meaning of what respect is.
Thank you.
Okay, improvement.
I'm Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
This seems a little bit not enough based on my confidence, I guess. It seems a little bit
what?
The introductions were a
Oh,
little bit
intro
too
was
long.
too long, yeah. Okay. Those are good thoughts. Manu, let me give you some feedback. You, as many people do when they're unfamiliar with a concept, look it up in the dictionary and try to get a handle on what's this respect crap, you know, what does it mean, you know, and so you got that working definition kind of in your head, which was fine, and it helped us get acquainted with you and get the speech started. An introduction, a good introduction, should really grab your audience, draw them in, and make them want to listen. And I'm not sure a definitional exposition fulfills that so much, but it was helpful to get us used to who you are and that sort of thing. Now, you also did this textbook style, and what surprised me was you said, well, how can I achieve this non-verbally? And you correctly perceived that you couldn't walk around and say, I respect you, so you knew you had to do something else, and so you settled on smiling and mirroring and maintaining eye contact, which were good things, positive things. But I would suggest, I hope you were also repeating your mantra about 1,000,000 times that I respect you, I respect you, I respect you, because that's the most important thing that will generate the feeling that you're giving off respectful vibrations to the people around you, and will cause actions to come from you that are respectful. You don't have to remember to mirror. Does everyone know what mirroring is? Does everyone know what we're talking about with mirroring? When you go to a job interview and the guy, you know, your employer, sorry, your employer leans back, you lean back, he puts his hands up, you put your hands up. And so you're real in sync with the person, right? It can be weird, it can be strange, but it's still, and I'm sure it's a great form of respect, but it's something, it's a technique that people do use. But I got to say that the mantra is just as strong and as powerful. Now, your little cousin that you got to stop playing video games by going down to his level was a good story, and looking him in the eyes. I'm surprised by this, but happy about this. And I'm glad that worked. Again, I will make the same comment that I made to a previous speaker, which is, let's see your narrative jump out more at the audience. So that was good, but not everything was good. Let me give you some bad, and with your voice, they make it jump out a little bit more with us. And you said there was, you know, and that is really the bad, and I warned you about that. Mostly people just ignore us. They put on their headphones, they go for their phone, and this is their form of communication. They don't could care less at looking around at the world and seeing these beautiful trees and buildings out here. You know, this is the new love, right? So, I think that your third story, and I think that I'll talk about this a little bit more, because women have to be, in particular, careful about how they practice this nonverbal communication with homeless people who often are mentally ill and on the street. It can be dangerous. Or with men, many of whom are dogs, and they misinterpret it, and they see a woman smile at them, and they go, oh, she loves me. You know, oh yeah, she wants me. And you know, it's pretty pathetic, but it happens. It's been reported in the last 40 years in this classroom that, you know, women say when they tried the and just smiling at the guy. And he goes, "Hi, can I have your phone number?" And it's like, gee, well, I'm flattered, but I have a boyfriend, that kind of thing. But you have to choose your shots and be careful and that sort of thing. I say, don't ever do anything in practicing this nonverbal communication that will get you fired or killed. And I was reminded of your story because I had one student from China who misheard the instructions about non-verbally saying, "I respect you." He thought he was supposed to do it verbally. So he went into the bathroom at a restaurant, and he was standing next to another man taking a pee. And he looked over at him and he said, "Hi, I respect you."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like a rule. You stand on the one side. There's one in the middle. Maybe it's not right next to him. Okay.
Yeah. So that didn't work out so well. Yeah. And also, we learned a little flick of the wrist and a little nod of the head. And in some cultures, too strong of a flick of the head and too strong of a flick of the wrist means something very negative and can get you killed. And we have often heard, "Why'd you shoot the guy?" "He disrespected me." Very simple. Disrespect is shooting offenses in some cultures. Yeah. So, you got to be careful. And I agree with the comment that was made, that work on your confidence and fake it till you have it. Just pretend I'm confident, I'm amazing, and I'll do it, and I'm great, and just don't give off that you're not confident and great. Just go up and do it. Okay? Thank you. Okay, next.
You want the time?
Yeah, all the time.
3:51.
3:51. Perfect. Okay, go.
Do you want the double space or the single space? Because I thought it had to be 2 pages, so single
No,
space.
I don't want single space. Never. Okay. Okay, Emily, I hear a lot of talking in the room. Shh. Emily stands before you. Take a step forward. Managing attention. Take a step that way. Communicating respect. Lighting friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Start your speech. Hi, Emily.
And today I'll be talking about respect. So when people hear the word respect, the first thing they may think of, it's about admiration for someone, or you're wary of them being there, or you just, basically respect should be garnered from both sides. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to working well as a team, is people respect each other. That's when it comes to communication. Respect is it's what's so vital when it comes to developing relationships with one another. And so having to go about communicating respect non-verbally was actually very difficult for me. I'm a very verbal person. I like to go out and say, "Thank you very much, thank you so much," or "I appreciate you as my friend," letting them know that I did appreciate what they did for me, or in return what they did, what I did for them. So when I went about trying to not say anything, it was really hard for me. So the first thing I said, okay, some of the easiest things that I can do is just smile at someone. So when I was at the grocery store, obviously you always make eye contact with the cashier, but no one really looks at the bagger, the person really working hard, putting all your groceries into your bag. So I just happened to look at the guy, and I just smiled, and I just nodded my head. And he was taken so aback that probably no one ever, recognizes his work or what he did. He looked up and he smiled back at me and nodded, gave me a nod as well. And that was one of the really good experiences
one of the good things that I experienced was that people that I didn't really know, most likely, majority of them strangers, smiling at them and acknowledging their presence, like, you know, giving them credit for what they're doing and who they are, and them smiling back, saying like, hey, she smiled at me, I'm going to acknowledge her for what she's doing and who she is. And that was a really good experience to feel, is that people are just, they liked what I did. But also, like, with the good, there's always the bad. So, for example, I work at a carnival game booth. I work at the basketball booth. And usually kids come by, you know, they're like 3 or 4, and they obviously cannot shoot it. You know, they come by and their parents are like, no, 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 don't go near them. Like, you know, we don't want to spend money. You know, the kid comes up anyway, and I always, you know, bend down to them and I say, hey, like, I'll give you a basketball. Go ahead and you can just try and shoot. I usually carry them up, put them on a little chair, let them shoot, like help them out. And I smile at them, bend over, give them a high five, and then they run back to their parents. Usually, when I see the parents, I put a hand up just like this, kind of just nodding, smiling at the same time. But some parents saw it as like, you did something that I didn't want my child to do. Why should I go ahead and thank you for doing that? Like, they didn't feel obligated to thank me for that. Even though I was just showing my respect to them, saying like, hey, thank you for letting me, like, you know, play with your child, like, have a good time. And that was one of the pretty bad experiences that I saw. People gave me the cold shoulder, they gave me dirty looks and just walked away. But for the worst of it, so growing up in an Asian household, growing up Asian, respect is huge in our like tradition, in our culture. Filial piety is like one of the things that goes back like all the way in ancient history, like respecting your elders, and basically just treating like every single elder as like you would like a professor or like someone very important in your life. So when it came down to it, I like always tell my parents, thank you for this, thank you for that. So when I actually couldn't say that, and I just looked at them and smiled, my parents were like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you thank me for that? They gave me a whole lecture and they were scolding me like, you need to respect your elders, we're your parents, we do everything for you. Why don't you say anything? You just stare at me and smile. Like, that's not something that I deserve as your parent. And that was probably the worst of it, and I had to explain to them, I'm just not communicating respect verbally. This was a mission that I had for one of my communications classes. So that was pretty intense. I think it was pretty intense. It was not a good situation to be in. But definitely, I realized at the end of the day, even if you communicate respect verbally or non-verbally, with certain people, you have to kind of, you know, adapt to their situation. So if it, you know, with your parents, something like that, you kind of have to say it. You have to be verbal about it. But with someone like a stranger, someone walking down the street, you can go ahead, you know, and just smile, just do it non-verbally. So at the end of the day, respect is what's really important in like creating those relationships with one another, and it's one of the things that everyone should really think about when they're meeting new people or talking to people in general. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
It's like scary with that thing recording you. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like this is
Well, just pretend the camera's not there. Okay, we're in the rear still, I believe. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Ludovica.
What's your name?
Ludovica. Ludovica. Ludo is fine.
Lulu. Hi, Lulu.
Ludo for the D.
What?
Ludo. That's fine.
Lugo?
Yeah.
Hi, Lugo.
Hi. So one thing I did like was her facial expression. I think it followed what she was saying.
Thank you, Lugo. Next, improvement.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey.
Hi,
And,
Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey.
And like Rudo said, the body gesture and the facial thing was nice, but the body gesture is a little bit, you know, repetitive. You know, sometimes I think audiences kind of, you know, will always keep doing that. So too much repetitive body gestures.
Okay. It's interesting. Emily, let's talk about this. You were a little nervous. So you kind of got ahead and behind and over around yourself, and that was sort of unfortunate. But you're a very likable speaker and a likable person, and that came through. You're clearly a nice person, and that was good. You told us that you was frustrating because you're used to being very. You see what you see what Emily's doing? This is called steepling. Don't ever do this when someone's talking to you, a boss or someone. That's denotes superiority, and you don't want to denote that. A boss, when you're asking for a raise, will go like this and not give it to you. So don't steeple ever, okay? So no steepling. Back to Emily. Emily, you kind of meandered into the topic by talking about how you weren't really that comfortable with doing the nonverbal. What I didn't get, and I needed to get, was the narrative preview of today. I'm going to tell you about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the preview of what's coming. So we had a roadmap to follow with your voice and really put it out there, okay? And that helps the audience follow along with you. His comment about the sameness, see if you don't see what he means by your nonverbal, not just your nonverbal, but your vocal inflection, and work on some vocal variety. And if you could move a little further and be a little more dynamic, higher, lower, softer, faster, slower, that's more interesting to look at and listen to. So on the good, they were you had good eye contact, and that was positive. I was kind of intrigued by your thing about the kids at the carnival. Because the parents obviously thought you were stealing money from them or something to get their kids to play a game that they were never going to win. And,
well, that's the key. You let them play first, and then the parents will play.
That's why. And money down the drain or something. But it was an interesting story, which is what I wanted to compliment you on. It really got my interest. The story that you told there was good. And if you could draw that back to the nonverbal verbal communication aspect of it more, that would have been good. The final story you told about your parents freaking out when you were no longer as verbally respectful as you normally are was excellent. It tells us that there is an expectation that people want to have respect given to them, especially when they're used to having it in a particular way. And so you had to break the norm and tell them that this was a sociological experiment, which was unfortunate. I wish you could have carried it on, because they probably said, don't want to have any more experiments on us, right? Yeah. So but I think that you could see you were still being respectful non-verbally to them, but it just wasn't as powerful to them because you were doing it non-verbally. What happened was at the end you were really anxious to get off the stage, and you skipped over, what did I learn?
Oh.
You didn't want to sit down and say, so what did I learn in all this? What was the takeaway from this? Or a little summary. So I've given you the good, the bad, the ugly, and what did I learn? See? Something like that would have sounded better. A better way to end. But overall, thank you for volunteering and getting it done. I think you got a good feedback on where you stand in your communication skills. Thank you. See, what's our time looking like? Yeah, I think I'm going to put on the video, and then if we have time, we'll do a few more. So, I'll watch your email.